Brand deals are a massive opportunity for both brands as well as creators, but it's very much the Wild West out there. There is no governing body that sets the market or how much people should get paid. So it's very much open to interpretation, and there is a big opportunity to get screwed, especially as a creator. So I've been working as a creator myself, doing brand deals for about 3 years at this point, and been working on the other side of the equation as an agency owner to work with creators. So I've seen both sides of the equation. So I'm gonna share what most people don't in this video and give you basically everything that you need to know to make sure that you never take on a brand deal that is underpaying you or that doesn't align with your brand or is just an all-around bad idea. So if you're a creator or you're looking to become a creator and you want to do brand deals, this video will be very, very helpful. So let's get right into it. So first of all, I want to start off with red flags because you're going to get a ton of people reaching out to you when you start to build an audience on social media, and most of them will absolutely be crap. So you want to spot these quickly so you don't even waste time going back and forth with them. The first most obvious red flag is that they're clearly a scam. If the email that's sent to you is very unprofessional, it looks like a scam, it smells like a scam, it's probably a scam. So you want to avoid those completely. You're going to get a ton of emails and DMs from these kind of one-off or BS brands that you just don't want to deal with. They wouldn't make sense for your brand, and chances are a lot of them won't even pay you. So just avoid anything that smells fishy. It probably is. The second red flag you want to avoid is if the brand is super cheap and doesn't see the value that you provide as a creator. It's not just your audience that they get access to, it's all the time and effort that you've put into building this audience, as well as building the skill set that allowed you to attract it and why people connect with you so deeply. So if they're super cheap and they don't see your value, buy on to the next one. There will be more brand deals, so don't sell yourself short. You'll end up regretting it in the long run, and I've done this numerous times. It is way better to work with people that see your value. The third red flag that should absolutely make you run away as a creator is if the brand wants to control basically everything involved in the creative process, as well as the final product. When a brand reaches out to you, they should have done their research in terms of the content you make, the connection you have with your audience, and the typical value that you provide to your audience. If they're coming in and asking you to do something that's totally out of left field and doesn't align with your typical content and why people love you, it's a bad idea to do that. So I've had this example myself where they want to control everything. They want it to be a super cinematic video. And I just said to them, I was like, did you even watch my content? Nothing is like that on my channel. It just didn't make sense. So if you're into that and they want to be super controlling, that's really silly. Also, if you're a brand watching this, that's really dumb because the people who have built these audiences, creators, they know their audience better than anyone. So giving them the creative freedom to build this brand collaboration or campaign around their unique connection to their audience is the best way to do it. So avoid it. And if you're a brand, avoid doing that. And the fourth one is just avoid any brand deal or brands in general that don't align with your values and your audience in general. If it's totally conflicting with the things that you preach or the value that you provide, it's not worth the short-term payoff. As a creator, you should look at yourself as a brand and look at yourself very long-term. So if you make a bad decision, much like in the business world, you can get your stock to go down. And with people investing their time and attention to you, you don't want to take that lightly. You'd rather keep going up and really stay true to your brand values and what you represent. So never compromise that for a brand deal. It's an awful idea. Those are the red flags to avoid. Now let's move into how you can actually structure a brand deal to not get screwed once they've passed through all these red flags and you know that you probably want to work with them. So when it comes to brand deals, there are a few different ways that they can pay you. The first and most obvious one is a one-time payment. So essentially, there's a contract built up that you do X task, whether it be one video, 2 videos, whatever the platform you're on, some sort of output, and then they pay you a dollar value based on you performing that task. It's very straightforward, very cut and dry, and usually what people think about when they think of brand deals, but there are actually better ways to structure your deals as a creator to make it more beneficial for you. The second route that a lot of brands will offer to creators is an affiliate component. So essentially, this is all performance-based if it's strictly affiliate. If that's the relationship, you are banking on yourself as the creator to convert the product or service that you're promoting. So it's very performance-driven. If you believe in that, it could be a very lucrative opportunity, but you're taking on all the risk as the creator if it's strictly affiliate. So to explain affiliate with a real life example is just think about a sales rep. And in this situation, think about a commission only sales rep. You only get paid if you convert on that sale, which is essentially what you're doing as an affiliate. Now, my preferred way of structuring agreements is through a hybrid. So a combination of both one-time payment or multiple payments that are guaranteed, as well as an affiliate component. Why I love this approach is because you do want to make sure that you're getting compensated at the very least for your time and all the effort that you've put into building this audience and to even make the video. But you also don't want to sell yourself short if that were to really take off. I've had videos that were brand deals that I didn't negotiate an affiliate component for, and essentially the brand gets a ton of extra value from you, the work that you've done and that you've built, and you get nothing for that really. So structuring this into the agreement gives you an opportunity for more long-term success, and this is huge for platforms like YouTube, where there's long content lifespans. Something can always go viral even years later, and on TikTok too, where and on TikTok too, where any post can go viral. And if this is the post that goes crazy for you, you want to make sure that you're getting some of that action if the brand goes nuts along with it. So I always try to negotiate a hybrid deal whenever possible, but this will depend on your unique situation and what makes the most sense for you. Obviously, if you need cash now, a one-time payment that is far larger may be beneficial to you. If you truly know your audience and you think you could crush it, you may want to negotiate a higher conversion affiliate agreement because you think that it can make you the most money. I've found that I love to create a hybrid, a connection of the two. I've found that checks most of my boxes. But the other element of deals that you need to consider is the ownership of the content that is being created. Regardless of if this is a one-time payment or an affiliate contract that you're signing, the ownership of the content is something that you should absolutely be aware of, because so many creators are signing brand deals that give the brands exclusive rights to this content in perpetuity, meaning they can repurpose the content that you're creating in any way, shape, or form that they want again and again and again, and you make no additional money if they were to use this. And this happens all the time because creators just aren't aware of this, and it's a huge way for brands to squeeze more value out of creators without them even noticing. You're probably thinking, well, why would a brand even reuse old content? And there's actually a bunch of reasons. First of all, if something really worked, they're gonna go back to it again later. And secondly, if a piece of organic content does really well, most brands who are smart will put money behind that piece of organic content and spread it as an ad, meaning you built now their ad asset for them and you're not getting paid for it being used that way. So you wanna make sure that that is factored into the agreement, and you don't wanna sign away the content ownership because they could potentially squeeze so much more value out of that you still deserve, but you don't get because you signed away the ownership to that content and the usage rights of it. So be aware of this. Simply by you watching this video, you're already in the minority of creators because most people I speak to aren't even aware that this is a thing or a problem. So always read through the contracts that are sent to you because most of them will have reference to the content ownership and the usage rights. And if not, you want to make sure that that is included. And when necessary, consult with a lawyer, especially if these are higher ticket deals. You want to make sure that you get things right and you don't get screwed over. Okay, so at this point, we have found a brand that aligns with us that we want to work with, and we now know the types of agreements. Now to the $1 million question, how much do we charge? Or ideally, it's $1 million question. Hopefully you're getting paid millions out there. But like I said in the beginning, this is very much the Wild West. There is no one set structure or going rate for this kind of content or deal. Luckily, this is a very known problem within the creator community, and people are looking to solve this issue. And one person in particular is Julia Montgomery, whose handle is @xmejules, and she's building a startup called Influent, which basically the whole premise of it is to give you the market rate as to what other creators are getting paid. Because right now it's very much just a standoff where they'll basically say, well, how much would you charge for this? And then you go back saying, well, what's your budget? And it's a kind of a messy back and forth because there is no set standard or rates. But because it is like that, it also is a huge opportunity for you as the creator to position yourself in a more favorable way and make more money because of it, which is what we're going to cover right now. So here's how you can maximize how much you can actually charge as a creator. So how much you can charge really comes down to your ability to sell yourself and position your points of value. Just like buying any other product, it all depends on how good or how well the product or service is positioned and sold. The exact same thing is true for yourself as a creator, and you want to make sure to leverage what you have to make the most amount of money possible. So how you do this most effectively is truly knowing your numbers. A lot of creators will create sort of a media kit to really explain and highlight their core points. But what I mean by this is understand your analytics and what they're actually saying. It's even better when you know the core goal of the business or the campaign, and you can really highlight your numbers and your analytics in a way that speaks to the points that they're really focusing on. And you can only really do this if you truly know your numbers. So let's use YouTube as an example. Say you only have 10,000 subscribers. You don't want to position the brand deal around your subscriber number if, say, you're getting 100,000 views per month or something along those lines. You want to put forward the stats that help you the most or that paint you in the most favorable light. So think about that when putting your brand or media kit together for brands that may reach out, but also through any sort of communication that you may have when negotiating this deal. Because as a creator, you do deserve to get compensated for more than just the final product because so much more goes into that. So what I typically will speak to when I negotiate with brands is all those additional value added. So let's say for YouTube specifically, I'm going to plan the video. I'm going to script the video. I'm going to conduct search engine research so the most amount of people see it. I'm going to create a custom thumbnail. I'm going to target all of this stuff strategically and let my audience know about it. So all of these different points. See, when you start factoring in all these things and you know the stats formats that look the most appealing, you can really create a high sense of value in terms of the task that you're completing. And your ability to do this will have a direct correlation to how much you can actually charge for the brand deal or collaboration. So a few quick tips to maximize value is to paint yourself in the best light possible, find the most favorable analytics or statistics that you have, and be forthcoming and provide them, but do so in a way that makes your brand look the best. Secondly, don't forget to include all the additional value adds that go into creating content. The stronger understanding that you have and what brought you to where you are today and all the effort and skills that you had to learn, you want to make sure that you're being compensated for that, because without all of those things, all the time you're putting in, this whole brand deal wouldn't even be a possibility. So you want them to actually think about these things to build up that perceived value of this collaboration. So after you've done this whole negotiation process and it comes to actually signing up to do the deal or not, the biggest thing I would say is never agree to a brand deal that you're not happy with the compensation structure. If you aren't happy with what you're getting paid, it's going to come through in what you actually produce. It's going to come through in your content, and you're going to hate the whole experience throughout. You're not going to be happy while doing it, and it's just going to lead to a ton of negativity. So don't set yourself up for failure. Only enter agreements where you're actually happy with what you're being compensated for. It's going to make the whole thing so much more enjoyable, and you're going to get way more out of it. The product's going to be way better, and it will lead to more and more brand deals in the future. So never settle for a brand deal if you can't reach a rate that actually leaves you happy. I've done this before, and it's never worked out. So how you can get away with actually doing this is by building out multiple streams of revenue as a creator, so that you're not only dependent on brand deals. It's a very vulnerable place to be if your sole income source is brand deals. So start building out additional streams of revenue, additional business opportunities, so that this stuff that comes in is all just bonus, and be able to negotiate properly, because the strongest point of leverage in a negotiation is being able to walk away from the table and truly mean it. So set yourself up in a situation where you can do that. It's just going to benefit you. So when it comes to charging specific rates, your numbers are going to evolve over time as you grow your audience and your skill set. So what you charge today for a brand deal is probably going to be a lot lower than what you charge even in the near future as you become more accustomed to this whole experience and the value of your audience and what you're providing. But here are 3 quick pro tips that have been really, really helpful for me when negotiating with brands and structuring brand deals. The first tip is kind of a strange one, but when I didn't know what my going rate was, all I did was charge something that I'd be happy with receiving. And if they said yes and there was no pushback, that then said to me that I'm probably undercharging for what I'm providing them. So every time I would negotiate with a new brand, I would just increase that rate slightly until I got some pushback. Obviously, this is a very fluid thing, and some people are just going to be cheap. But like we said before, that's one of the red flags you want to avoid. So a quick pro tip is just start with what you're happy with and just continue to increase it until you get a bunch of pushback. And sometimes a bit of pushback might just be a negotiation thing. So actually continue the negotiation to really see how they truly feel, because they're always going to try to get the best deal. But I found that very helpful. Just increase it every single time, especially if you're getting no pushback. The second pro tip is to understand the value of your audience, especially if you are a niche creator. There are some people who have audiences that aren't very large, but they're so niche specific that anybody who's trying to target that specific group of people should have to pay a premium to get in front of them. Because if you even think from the paid ad perspective, the more hyper targeted you get, the higher you have to pay to run Facebook ads, Google ads, whatever. So the same should be true for you having a super niche audience. You should actually be rewarded for that because you have such a connection to this specific group of people that the brand or business is trying to speak to and target. Plus, if you have an audience within this super niche community, you're a name within that space, and the name that you've built and the connection and community that you've built with your audience is something that should be charged for, because without you can't access these people, 1, but 2, because you have a connection with them already, your endorsement also means a lot. So these aren't things that you can tangibly see, but they should be structured into the relationship, and bringing that up is another great way to charge more for it, because you're actually speaking to that. And it also brings up the perceived value of the collaboration with you. So this is true for really any audience, especially if you've developed a strong community, but even more so if you are a niche creator in a niche community, because if your audience is this brand's ideal customer, they should pay a premium for that because of your reputation, the audience that you have, as well as the super targeted nature. So don't sell your audience short. It's not just about the number of subscribers, followers, or even views. They're not all made equally. So understanding your audience and the unique value that you provide to specific brands will give you a ton of flexibility to really structure agreements that make sense for you, and don't sell yourself short here. A lot of people will just say, this is the going rate, so this is what I'm going to charge. Views aren't all made equally. Subscribers aren't all made equally. Think about what this deal could mean for that business and make sure you're getting an equitable percentage of that, because you deserve it. So don't sell yourself short. Know your audience as well as the value that it can provide to the specific brands that you're speaking to. Don't think in terms of just raw numbers. Think about what those raw numbers would mean in terms of potential business. There are so many niche creators out there that are getting taken advantage of because they're not taking this stuff into consideration and positioning themselves accordingly. So brands are collaborating with smaller creators and winning tremendously in terms of what they get out of it. So think about this stuff and negotiate from a position of leverage. You've built this and you deserve to get compensated fairly. And the third pro tip when it comes to charging is whenever you do decide to work with a brand, always try your best to get as much specific information from that brand as to how your content or your campaign performed. They will not be quick to give this out, but some brands will give you this information. And this is a huge point of leverage when negotiating with future brands, but also starting the conversation. If you can go to another similar brand and say, I brought this brand XYZ dollars or XYZ sales, that is a huge negotiation piece and will get the conversation going. When you come with that point of leverage, it's going to start a conversation, and it's usually going to start one that makes you a lot more money because you have proven success. In any industry, especially sales, performers get paid. So you want to track your previous wins and use that for future negotiation to make even more money. So even if the brands won't give you specific numbers, which they probably won't, but definitely still try, it's still super valuable to categorize all the brand deals that you've done in the past and structure the presentation in either a media kit or whatever, but you control the narrative here. So you can use the numbers that are public access in terms of views, impressions, etc., but also speak more to the branding side of it. If you don't have specific and concrete numbers, think more about what you can bring to life for this brand, and that's another great way to position some leverage and bring up perceived value as well. If you're enjoying this video so far, please take 2 seconds and smash the like button on this video or tap it, whatever you're into. We don't judge, but I would greatly appreciate it. So that's basically everything that I've learned about creator brand deals from working on both sides of the equation and all of the things that I wish I knew far earlier as a creator working with brands. So if you are a creator, you want to keep this stuff in mind, because even if you're not at that place yet where you are working with brands, you're likely to get there in the very near future, or maybe even watching this video would motivate you to actually reach out and start that conversation with brands, because there is huge opportunity even for smaller creators, like I mentioned. And if you yourself are a creator of any size, be sure to subscribe to this channel. My name is Ben. It's great to meet you. I release weekly videos to help you grow on social media and make more money using social media, just like we covered here today. So be sure to subscribe and join the team. I'm very happy to have you, and I also really would like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So join the team. You benefit, and my ego will benefit by getting to 100K. So thank you in advance for supporting that goal. And if you're looking for some more help about growing on Instagram specifically, I just linked a video in the card above that will be tremendously helpful for you growing over there. So I'll see you over in that video. We'll talk there.